It's Elise, welcome back to the channel. And as we are a few weeks in January, I like to take this time to calculate my net worth. So in this video, I'm going to do two things. The first one is I'm going to give you all the details with like the numbers. And then I'm going to spend the second part of the video giving some much needed context, because this year is definitely a contextual year where it has to be explained, so that I was able to wrap my head around what's going on, because it's good, but then it's also nuanced significantly. And then I'll wrap up the video with just like how I'm trying to move forward in 2025 to keep the momentum going. Net worth is compiling all of your assets, getting that number, and then subtracting the compilation of all of your liabilities. An asset, how I define it, because this is my net worth, is anything that I have in my possession that if I sell it, I will get cash money for it, and I can use that to spend it on something else. And then my liabilities are things that I have to give somebody else cash so it can be off of my record and I can be free from it. So let's go over the assets part. So the first asset that I have listed is my home, and my home's value at the moment, as of December 31st, 2024, was $257,100. And I will start by saying that that is a marked decrease. And I'll get into the context later. The house is going to be the context really of this year's net worth calculation. Then I have my car, which is $8,500. That has gone down a little bit, but I have a particular car that I picked specifically because of its value. It maintains its value more than most cars. My retirement accounts, everything combined, is $273,219. That has gone up. Savings is $19,780. That has honestly gone down a little bit. My brokerage, not a lot though. My brokerage account is $1,606, and I started that 4 months ago. And then my luxury goods are valued at $5,000. And so when I compile all of that, the sum total of my assets is $566,025. Now for my liabilities, thankfully I only have a mortgage, and my mortgage comes out to $83,928. So subtracting that from the sum of my assets, my net worth is $482,097. So the good thing is it did go up, and it went up by about $32,697. The bad thing is, and this is where the context comes in, is that my home is the problem, because there was no appreciation that happened, and it actually depreciated significantly, and it depreciated almost $30,000. So last year my home was worth about $284,000, and now it's only worth $257,000. And I did the calculation; it is down $27,500. Now, normally real estate, I live in a condo, and I did some research. A condo and a townhome appreciates about 3.5%, and like a single family home appreciates between 4 to 5%. And that is not going on. And I did a video last year in 2024 telling y'all like that I saw this beginning to happen, and at that point it had only decreased by $10,000, and that's when I first started showing concern. And Florida is, a special place for real estate, as you know. I did a few calculations that I'm going to show you guys somehow, either with a graph or a table, to kind of give a larger picture of where things stand and where they could be. So the first one I did was the net worth of where it is right now, which is the $482,097 step. Then I did, and that's with it decreasing the home. Then I did the number of it not decreasing and not appreciating, just being where it was, which was what the value was last year, which was $284,000, around that amount. And my net worth would have been $509,597. And that would have put me at the $500,000 status. And I would have definitely made a video about that. And whenever that does happen, I plan to make a video about it. But because of what happened, that video is not going to be made right now. And then the third stat that I found out is what would my net value had been if the value of the home went up by the expected 3.5% appreciation. And that would have given me an extra $10,000 roughly, and that value would have been $519,558. So there is a decent spread among those numbers. I'll say that it's kind of maddening seeing the numbers and, the state of particularly real estate in Florida, but it's not even Florida because even as recently as last night, California is on fire and I haven't had a chance to look at the news, but it's not going to matter whether it's rain, snow, famine. I don't know if anybody can really hide from what is looking like is coming upon us, right? I will say that probably prior to 2020, if you were a little bit more diligent than the average, you had a good opportunity to build wealth through the typical things that you say you build wealth from. And one of those is real estate. I bought my house in 2017 and I'm glad I did because I would be screwed if I didn't. And I follow some people on social media who did really well in real estate, but when they talk about it, they got their boom 2015 to like 2019. And then they like to kind of share how they're going to do it and how you could do it. But the how you could do it, I don't think that applies to 2025 and beyond because things are just so expensive. And particularly in real estate, you just have to deal with more things. You have to deal with taxes and you have to deal with insurance. And y'all already know I've talked about what's going on in Florida. Insurance is a mess and taxes are a bitch, right? So then I did think about something else where like Black people in particular, our wealth is in a lot of real estate and it's not in a lot of securities. And that's why I have realized that I want to be a voice to talk more about how we need to get into securities. And it's important because in securities, as of right now, they haven't found a way to put insurance on it. So it doesn't have to be insured. And there are taxes, but the taxes tend to be lower than property taxes, as well as you can do a lot of the same things. If I need a home equity line of credit, I can just take it against my house. You can get security-backed loans and take them against your securities. But at the same time, you are not burdened with, is your house going to burn down? Is my house going to get flooded, etc.? Is there going to be a hailstone? All these things. Like, is there going to be a ice storm? Whatever they call it. I don't deal with those. But I don't think anybody is really like safe as we used to be from those situations. And this is why I'm glad that I have diversified. 2024 was a big year for me in making sure that I started the brokerage account because a year before that, I was mad that I hadn't started it. I know 2025 for me is a year of building up my savings because I don't know, I have a lower threshold or a higher threshold. I don't know what the threshold is, but there's like a number I need to feel safe, and I'm more conservative just because I am a Black woman in this country. 26, God willing, like it will be brokerage account, brokerage account, brokerage account, brokerage account, because I'm just seeing the writing on the wall, and I'm gonna diversify as much as possible because it was looking really good. Like as far as like my calculations, I had the real estate handle, I had the retirement handle, and I had starting that. But with the real estate, I don't know what's going on. I can't complain too much though because I mean, when I started, it was like $1,250 to live here, and it's not even at $1,600 at the moment, right? So the way I'm gonna see it, because I can always adjust things in my mind. That's kind of the gift. I can always like adjusting in my mind because that's the gift of being a Gemini. I just see it as I have a roof over my head. That's affordable. Do I hope to get money out of my real estate at the end? Yes, but I think what that's gonna be is a long time from now. Like I'm talking decades from now. And at least I can say, let's say this building decides to sell out to the developer, I'll get paid something, right? Something. A lot of people can't say that. So I'm not saying I regret real estate because it puts a roof over my head, and there's nothing like having a roof over your head, and I'm grateful for that. But if anybody were to ask me, I would say no. Don't. If it's going to put you in the poorhouse, don't buy real estate. And that's what a lot of real estate is doing at the moment. So my thoughts on my 2025 network calculation is that a win is still a win. I'm gonna go back into my positivity era and say that having an increase of $32,000 is a win. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful for that because it could have went down by $1. It could have went down by $50,000. So yes, my house went down by almost $30,000, but I went up overall by more than $30,000 because I have a more well-rounded financial situation going for me. The whole point of doing these calculations once a year for me, maybe once a month for you, maybe every 6 months for you, is that I am aware of the situation. I can speak to my financial situation. I remember when I was working for somebody and I was the head of the department, when they would come, when my supervisor would come, I would have to talk about the business. We're doing well here, we're doing bad here, this is where we have an opportunity to do better, blase swaze. It is my hope that more people think of themselves as a business and the head of the department of their business. Like, I know someone to ask me, how much are your expenses a month? I know because I have a budget, I've been budgeting for 10 years. How's your overall financial picture? I know because I do my net worth every year. I know where I'm at. Nobody can tell me about my financial business because I know my financial business. I hope I'm just gonna ride the ride. There are gonna be some years where they're hopefully outliers and they're not how you expect them to go. But this year, I can still say that some things went down, but overall, it went up. And at this point, I'm wondering for this year, when I calculated, hopefully at the beginning of 2026, if I have the scales of economy in my possession yet. And what the scales of economy is that once you get to a certain level financially, when you have money, when you have a certain amount of money, when you've met that threshold, it just goes without you even having to put much effort into it. And I think I put in my last video that one of my financial goals is that I wanted my net worth to increase by at least 50,000 because, and that was before I did this calculation because I thought it was going to increase by like 40. It only increased by 32. But honestly, my retirement accounts are growing and growing and growing significantly. So I'm hoping it continues. And regardless of my home, even though I can't go down drastically, but I'm hoping my retirement accounts are at a point where on its own, even if I don't contribute that much, that $50,000 goal that I have for myself can just be taken care of with my retirement accounts. But time will tell, and y'all know I'll be back reporting to y'all in 12 months about it. And that's where I'm at, y'all. How is your net worth going? Are you seeing a positive trend this year, or are you seeing a negative trend, or is it somewhere in the middle? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as always, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. And that's